Okay. Yep, we're up again with another edition of the social media program on television. The Buzz is actually the midweek edition of the show, and it's a pleasure as always to be here. Today is Wednesday, the 28th of November, 2018, and still on the countdown to Christmas. It's 27 days to go. Exciting.
Very exciting.
Exciting. I mean, don't blame me. Oh, I get very excited when it's Christmas time because, like, I was born like a week to Christmas, so it did the blood. So every time it's December, like, I'm always excited. Yeah, it's that time of the year again.
So you want us to miss our cake this year?
How do you mean?
Because you're going on here.
Hey, come to my house and eat. Anyways, welcome to the show. My name is Patience, and of course, you've seen my co-host, Blossom.
Yes.
Good afternoon, officially, Blossom.
Good afternoon, too. Welcome to the show, guys. Today's going to be extremely beautiful because I'm seeing some topics here that are very hot.
You like controversy, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, we're not alone on the table. Joining us here, it's a pleasure to bring her back. She's a marketing and communications consultant. She's also quite vocal on Facebook. If you are in that group called Rants Headquarters, of course you will know her very well, very well. She's always throwing stones and shaking tables. It's a pleasure to have Esosa Osagede on the show. Good afternoon, Esosa.
Good to be here,
Good
Patience.
afternoon.
Welcome. All right, also, another one of our regulars on the show. He is Chairman, Board of Trustees, ACT Network, which is a good governance advocacy group. He's also a business and financial consultant, and he's a very lovable person. Since I've known him, you know, I've not seen one reason why I should be cross with this man, Mr. Segun Sokwito.
I will not blush.
Your wife is a very, your wife is a very lucky woman. If she's watching,
I refuse to blush. Good afternoon, viewers.
good afternoon. All right. Stuck in traffic somewhere in Okpebi, Chooks one day of the Guardian newspapers. He'll be here in a bit. He's almost here, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. Anyways, if you're viewing the show first time, you can join us and interact using the number 0802 836 8971. I'd better say that again because someone accused me of rushing over the numbers. So the number is 0802 836 8971, and it's for SMS only. All right, we'll kickstart the show with in other news. Quickly, 10 seconds reactions from you panelists. South Africa increases its minimum wage to 126,480 naira. As the federal government of Nigeria continues to debate whether or not to increase the minimum wage from 18K to 30,000, the South African government has gone ahead to increase that of its civil servants from 97,495 naira to 126,480 naira. Of course, we all know in South Africa they spend rand, so but we're giving you like the naira equivalent of that amount. Now, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who signed the new minimum wage into law on Monday, the 26th of November, said the new wage would take effect from January 1st, 2019, and would benefit about 6 million workers that currently earn 3,700 rands, approximately 97,000 naira. Wow. Now, let me break it down for us. One South African rand is equivalent to 26 naira 35 kobo. Now, this means that averagely a South African earns 527 naira per hour, 4,216 per day, and of course 126,000 and some naira per month. Now, in Nigeria, currently, averagely, a worker earns 75 naira per hour, 600 naira per day, and of course 18,000 naira per month. Quick reactions, 10 seconds each.
10 seconds. Are you sure?
It's not enough. Just go ahead.
I mean, first of all, I want to ask the question. I hope, are we still being called the giant of Africa?
Yes,
I don't
guess
think so. You know,
slumbering
somebody needs to Gabashi were one of those guys that just go around saying all sorts of things. We need to first of all drop that, because this is, you know that card they call big for nothing. That's what we have become. We're just big for nothing. I mean, this is a shame. South Africa that just, just crossed over from the apartheid era. I mean, it all happened in our time. So it didn't happen, centuries or decades ago. It just happened. And look at the, they are still going through their teething stages and their issues. But look at it. And you see, just the other day, I was speaking to a group of, people, different people, brilliant minds, bankers, doctors. Everybody's going. Nigeria keeps losing its best and its brightest. And we're even saying to ourselves the other day that the people who are even relocating the most are people who seemingly cannot afford. People are leaving this country in huge numbers, in droves, and nobody's doing. This is it. This is the reason you hear that somebody has moved to Cyprus. Places that
ordinarily you wouldn't want to go.
People are getting certificates from all sorts of places. This is the reason. People would rather walk through the desert to get to the, to the other side. Like, I mean, I was discussing with my brother who lives in the UK, and he was saying that the only reason why the UK isn't going through the kind of issues with with migrants that the US, because they are divided by huge water. Even though migrants still smuggle themselves in. But look at what is happening in America. People are walking from war-torn countries through Mexico, through Tijuana, going to the US. That's what's happening in Nigeria. It's a shame. Honestly.
Wow. All right, Mr. Sokoto, your reaction.
I mean, it's quite unfortunate, and I think it just boils down to a fundamental leadership problem on the one hand, and a fundamental followership problem on the other. So it's a double whammy, and one wonders how we're going to get out of this, because we have a long way to go. Just look at the gap between that minimum wage and ours, and you can go do your numbers across the world. Ours is one of the lowest anywhere. So I really don't know what to say. Our problems are
600 naira a day.
I mean, look. So it's the reality is that those guys are not really earning $18,000 naira a month because they find a way, because they must eat. 18,000 cannot feed you in a month, so they find a way, and that's the reality. So the question is how.
Interesting.
Wow. Have you tried to go to any government parastatal? The thought that you even have to go there, your mind will start to beat back, because you know that every stop you must drop.
Every table.
That's why.
It's
as simple as that.
Let's move it along because of time.
Okay, Governor Wike sacks Rivers TV radio stations MD. The Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has sacked the managing director of 3 television and radio stations in the state. A statement from his office says they were sacked because of their failure to attend a meeting by the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON. The stations whose MDs were sacked are the River State Station, Television, Radio Rivers, and Garden City Radio. Governor Wike said he was embarrassed that none of the state-owned broadcasting parastatals honored such an important meeting. Now, that's a very, very interesting.
First of all, it's an unusual news for me. When BON calls for a meeting, you attend, don't you, as a TV station?
Yeah, so since those guys didn't go, and since Wike is their boss, I think, if you feel they deserve to be fired, I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's about, one of the problems that we have, including the one that we just spoke about, is this gross inefficiency, carelessness, lackadaisical attitude, lack of productivity in the public service. So why will the BON call a meeting and the MD of, a state-owned parastatal, broadcasting parastatal, would not attend? Sure. Why? So if the guy decides to sack them, I think we need more of those. We simply don't have enough consequence management in the public service.
Do you
know that in most cases you can't sack a civil servant? The worst that will happen is that they redeploy you. So they've gotten complacent, and they pretty much know that they can get away with anything. And that explains the lack of productivity. So for me, thumbs up.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
I don't know, but I think I'll jump in and play the angel's advocate here. A lot of times, these guys who sit as governors and mini heads of states in their mini gods in their states, always like to play, like my friend would say, when you own a church, president and founder. So you see, maybe you don't know what has maybe played out. You know, we know Wike, we know how bullish he can be. So you never know what must have happened. Maybe he has tried to say own them, you know, and I mean we see what's happening with the media across the world, where presidents are trying to stifle the media, try to, you know, control the, you know, the kind of messaging and messages that come out. You never know what Wike has been trying to do to these people, and for them, like you said, I mean, you know your job. If BON calls for a meeting, you should show up. For them not to have shown up, I think there's more to it that meets the eye.
All right. Okay, let's quickly move it along to one more story in other news. Armed robbers allegedly steal newborn babies at University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. Daredevil armed robbers attacked the premises of the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, and they've been accused of stealing 3 newborn babies from the pediatric ward of the hospital. The robbers, who were about 10 in number, invaded the premises on Sunday night and carried out their attack with no mask on.
Wow.
They reportedly moved from bed to pick up babies. They beat up the hospital staff and also attacked pregnant women in the pediatric ward. Also, phones and cash were stolen from people in the ward.
That is outrageous.
Phones and cash, that was just extra jara, so you don't know.
So you think they're
robbers?
robbers?
You really think they're robbers? I mean, the gross audacity in this country. A woman goes through 9 months of that, and then you take away her child. I mean, I don't want to sound, I don't even know, maybe, I mean, you know what they always say when elections are around the corner and all the diabolic rubbish that goes on. You know, so as a typical Nigerian sitting here, that's the first thing you think about. That only God knows, somebody must have said you must bring a newborn baby fresh, so you'll be fresh and you win fresh. You know, those kinds of things that we watch on in all these Nollywood movies and all of that. I don't even know what to, my heart goes out to all the women, all the mothers, and even the hospital staff that had to go through that kind of trauma. You know, it's getting really terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a very young person. I'm not old, but I'm middle-aged. And I tell you, this is the first time I'm hearing this. I've never heard of this before.
Babies like
that you've gone to steal babies at gunpoint from a hospital, newborn babies. I've never heard it before.
Matrons.
Yeah, stealing babies to go and sell and all of those things. But armed robbers that you go into a hospital with a gun to steal babies. You know, I think it's a new low.
This is getting really
It's a new low.
When
it's
you
a
think
new
you
low.
can't sink any
When you think you
lower,
can't
you
go
just
lower, then I mean, we just create a new hole and enter inside it. I mean, it's outrageous, and I hope that somehow, I don't know whether there's a CCTV camera or something there so that the police can intervene. I hope, you know. I mean,
are we going to be deploying policemen or what to hospitals?
Yes, exactly.
Now, you know,
exactly,
like,
to guard babies.
wow.
How many things will they guard?
I know.
God forbid you now deploy the kind of policemen that would now be
helping
Partners.
out. Yeah.
Compromise.
Anything can happen. But this is really a sad one.
Wow.
Once
Very
again, I mean, to all the mothers, you know, who are affected by this, well, I don't know. Be strong.
Yeah.
Be strong. Okay, so that's it in other news. If you're just joining us, you're watching The Buzz. Here we discuss issues as they trend on social media. And if you'd like to participate, you can do that by sending SMS to the number 0802-836-8971. Our first story of the day says, more churches or more industries. Controversial media personality Daddy Freeze has called out the pastor of Dunamis International Gospel Center, Pastor Paul Enenche, after the dedication of his 100,000 capacity church called Glory Dome in Abuja over the weekend. According to Daddy Freeze, he said, and I quote, "We need factories, not temples. God doesn't live in temples." End of quote. Now, let's take the video of him actually having a say on this matter.
Want to know what's coming, guys? The free beach ball! I guess I'd better start again. Oh, here we go, everybody. Free beach ball! Yes, guys, there's a free beach ball in every carton of Capri Sun. Get a carton, get a ball. It's time to play some more. Way!
Capri Sun. The taste of fun. House of Cheese.
Certain pastor called Paul Enenche. He said there are some people who say, why are they still building big churches? Why don't they build industries? Those are satanic voices speaking. The Church of Satan has a verified Twitter handle, and I'd like them to respond to this. This is not even the voice of Satan speaking. In my opinion, building a mega church is satanic. I'm going to address this with my understanding of the Bible given to me by the person who sent me on this message. I'm going to continue. He said, number one, we have to build big churches to have big accommodation for big harvest. We want to build big churches to have big accommodation for big harvest. Does that even make any sense at all? As in, sorry, let me be polite. Uncle, what you have just said, if it makes sense to you, I am worried. I want to continue with this. And number two, the church is one of the largest employers of labor. God forbid that the church becomes the highest employer of labor in a country. That is why we have the most poverty. In 3 years, China raised 500 brand new billionaires in dollars. Did they do it by employing people in the church? I'm getting upset now. What harvest from which farms? We don't need churches to be paying salaries. We need industries. No country in the world got rich by having a profitable church business. When you bring Skibala to the forefront of the teachings of Christianity, this is what you get. Let me break it down to you. The country with the most billionaires in the world is China. China has 819 billionaires in US dollars. China is a Buddhist nation. The country with the strongest passport in the world is Singapore, another Buddhist nation. The tourist destination of the world, Dubai, is a Muslim nation. The country with the highest GDP, Qatar, a Muslim nation. Mention one country run by the church that is prospering. Mention one predominantly Pentecostal country.
Wanna know what's coming, guys? The free beach ball! I guess I'd better start again. Oh, here we go, everybody. Free beach ball! Yes, guys, there's a free beach ball in every carton of Capri Sun. Get a carton, get a ball. It's time to play some more. Way!
Capri Sun. The taste of fun. House of Cheese.
All right. Well, you heard that from Daddy Freeze there. I mean, he was very emphatic about his opinion on this issue. Well, anyways, that video has gone viral online, and reacting, the pastor, Pastor Paul Idoko Enenche, described Freeze as he says, and I quote, a very highly irrelevant, insignificant, infinitesimal, microscopic piece of material who is only useful for the purpose of census. I didn't say it. So here is the video.
Wow.
Here is the video of him having his say. This is his reaction.
I heard some very highly irrelevant, insignificant, infinitesimal, microscopic, statistical piece of materials that are only relevant for census purposes, who only hang on the internet to talk against people. They have not achieved anything, will never achieve anything for life, will be remembered for nothing. They say, why do you build a big church? and not build factory. We are paying so many people on payroll. Over 5,000 to 10,000 people worked on this structure. They receive their salaries and earn their living. But I have bad news for that devil. You have seen nothing yet. You have seen nothing yet. Get ready for heart attack. Devil and your host.
Okay, so that is the situation, guys. Meanwhile, while that video was playing, our third panelist finally made it here. Chuks Nwanne of the Guardian newspapers. Welcome, Chuks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Wow, how's traffic out there?
I was just going front and back. I think somehow government need to do something about Ikeja. The
It's
fact
not just
that
Ikeja.
no, but Ikeja is a peculiar problem.
No.
Why is it that we
you.
can only get into Ikeja from Maryland on this axis? There must
Okay.
be a way
Like
to
another
come in.
route.
Coming
Okay.
again.
Once you have problem with Maryland, the whole back Anthony
It's blocked.
up to
Yeah.
Computer Village. So it's a big problem.
Bele.
Yeah.
Thank God you made it though. Okay, so guys, let's react to this story. This is a very, very trending topic right now on social media. Chuks, we'll start from you. Dive in.
Okay. I want to be very, very honest with you,
Okay.
and I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I'm not here to represent the church or to represent Freeze, but I want to talk about my personal experience and what I think.
Okay.
A lot of things that are wrong with Nigeria is as a result of religion. Religion has made us not to understand that we have a challenge. So what religion says, just go and pray to be well. That's not the truth. Prayer without good work is dead.
Yeah.
So says the Bible.
That's
Yeah.
the same Bible they are reading
Yeah.
from. Oh, I claim it. What are you claiming, for God's sake? So where's the place of hard work? So you see, the church has practically deviated from its original, what it's meant to do, to achieve. I went to a missionary school, so I can tell what it means to be under the church. I'm still a Catholic for today. If it gets to the point where I'm no longer comfortable, I'll take a walk. Why can't we build a school and our children attend the school? That's man's inhumanity to man. Why would my father toil, donating money every day, and then only for you to build a school that my salary in the next 10 years cannot train any of my kids? What exactly are you doing? When we are going to St. Charles College Onitsha, which is a Catholic school, what's the school fees? In fact, they were more concerned about your intellectual, as in your capacity to learn, your IQ.
It wasn't money driven.
It's not about money. So you after your common entrance, you do a special exam that says if you can fit into this environment. In fact, I remember those days our principal will practically take you, if they think you are not meeting up, he will take you to another school where you will meet up, and they will pay for your school fees there. Because we are out to train people. It's not about the money. Go and check all this, your university, private university. Go and check those who are attending those schools. Muslims and all kinds of people from all kinds of places. So what are we talking about? I think the pastors and all the reverend gentlemen in Nigeria should bow their heads in shame. In a country where we are talking about poverty level, one pastor owns 3 jets. What are you doing with a jet? How many jets did Jesus Christ fly? Where do you want to go in the world? Are you busier than the Pope? Does he even own a private jet? The Pope covers the Catholic Church worldwide. Your church within Nigeria, you are fine. Where are you taking the jet to, for God's sake? We have airlines that fly to all those routes. If you sell one of those jets, I know what we can use it to do for the children of this country. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. And I think we Nigerians also, we need to wake up. What is wrong with everybody? Why has church become monetized? Where is religion? Why is Christianity in this whole madness? Because it's pure
I've
madness.
spoken for
All right,
all of
so
us.
sip some coffee.
Sip some coffee.
Let me
It's annoying.
Yeah, I know.
Now somebody
I
is here
can get it.
defending it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see,
I
in
get
my
it.
own case, yeah, you're right. You see, it's not just religion. Religion and politics have destroyed this country because, you know, the world has definitely not just crept into the church, but the world now lives in the church. So these pastors and these, you know, reverend bishops and whatever they call themselves already have that mindset that you need to make people subservient, to put them down, let them know that let them have that feeling of, I need you, I need this man. If pastor doesn't lay hands on me, it will not be well with me. Like he said, what is the place of hard work in all of this? That is how they brainwash people. You see, until you emancipate yourself from, like what Mali said, all of these mental things. I mean, election is coming up. Politicians will start their own. I know somebody who has never, you know, I don't know whether I should say it here, Lagos Central, the person who represents Lagos Central, she has never campaigned, but we know she will win. The guy who represents Surulere Constituency 1 never campaigns, does not even live in Surulere, but we think he will win.
Coming back.
You know, he thinks he will come back. I say think because I'm hopeful that with all the new faces that have shown up on the scene, some people will topple some people.
Okay.
You see, that's the mindset. Nigerians need to get to that point. I was discussing with my brother and his friends yesterday, and we're talking about it. You know, he was saying that, he was going to vote for a particular presidential candidate, but his conscience would not allow him to vote for a new face and all of that. And I said, but you see, the thing is, I now said, you're going to waste that vote. You know, let's just put it on this other person, the lesser evil. And he said, the guy said, see, that's our problem. You see a new face, vote for him. Let's not waste that vote on this new person. And let's help him win. You see, it's a vicious cycle. And not even for Freeze, because he contradicts himself a lot of times. I mean, you say Qatar is an Islamic country run by, you know, Muslim money and all of that. So we can't even come. But I understand what he
Where
means
he's
in
coming
terms
from.
of,
Yes.
you know, progress and all of that. You know, it's sad.
He's trying to say that the progress of a nation is not dependent on what religion.
Yeah, religion,
Yes.
exactly.
That's what he
you
said.
know, I mean, more and more in the UK, a lot of churches are being turned to clubs. Around the world, it's happening. You know, the only time you see a full church in some of these countries abroad is when there's a wedding. On a Sunday, you never see anybody there. You know, you really must love God to go to church in most of this. It's sad. I mean, he has said everything. It's really sad. It's really frustrating.
Emancipation from
You know,
mental
and
slavery.
you see the annoying thing is all of these people that go to my father, papa, mama, see their lives during the week. There was a day we're breaking them down from this church to this church. And we could tell, you know this person from this church, very wicked people. This one, they will say, wear bulletproof jackets. Meanwhile, these pastors have armed guards standing there, and they're telling you that you should be wearing one coat, that if they shoot you or if they touch you, harm will not. You see, it's just sad. It's brainwashing.
Okay.
It's just brainwashing.
Okay.
Well, so for me, it's I'd like to focus on the source of the controversy, which is the building of
itself.
the 100,000 seat
Glory Dome.
you know, and all of that. And religion will always be a controversial issue, but I want to say that, you know, Paul Eneche the guy is a controversial guy. I don't like his approach. I don't like the way he talks.
He doesn't have,
you know.
he doesn't have the mind of Christ, because a true pastor will not talk
I wouldn't
like
say that. I wouldn't go
does
that
not.
far, but I would just say that, you know, I would expect a man on a podium, on a pulpit of God, to be circumspect with his choice of words and all of that. So in all of his engagements and interactions with national issues, for me, he always goes overboard. You know, so his response to Freeze, for instance, was a bit, you know, it was just too much. You know, you can't just rubbish a fellow human being, and you are on a pulpit, and you're on a pulpit, you know. So having said that, I think it's also important to note that the church, his church, is designed for a certain number of people. He's providing something, and we must not lose sight of this.
People.
Yes.
Okay.
So for me, you can't take religion out of a human being's overall well-being. I'm telling you, every human being has been built to believe in something, including the people that say they're atheists. They believe that there is no God. So they are already believing in something.
Yeah.
Now, so there's a place for religion, there's a place for Islam, there's a place for Christianity, and all of that, in order to have a balanced society, a balanced human being. That's what the church is doing. Are people going overboard? Of course, it's very obvious. Do they need private jets? Debatable. Me, I will say no. If you sit the guy down who is flying his jets, he might explain to you and
why he needs
yes, and if you sit one-on-one with him and see his schedule, you might begin to say, oh, wait a minute, okay, maybe this makes some sense. I don't know. I'm not defending anybody, but I'm just saying that freezes outright.
But can't we do with one jet what we do?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying.
Because you don't fly those things every day.
So,
you are packing it. You are paying for packing.
What I'm trying to say, right?
Meanwhile, I'm neutral.
Yeah.
So
what I'm trying to say is that I think Freeze is playing to the gallery.
Okay.
I think Freeze he knows what he's doing. He is gathering Twitter followership. He's gathering Facebook following. He's gathering ratings for his station. And for me, that's all it is. I don't think for 1 second that he believes all these things he's saying. I think he's just found something that pinches people and gets them going.
And he's
milking it.
He's getting people to believe.
Yes, and for exactly.
You see people outside now saying like that the Freeze says. Not like
you know,
the Bible says.
The other time, he calls it a shippo. You know, the other time he was talking about tithes, and I think that for me, I always try to strike a balance. So I think Freeze is doing some damage. I really think, because religion is a personal thing. So the question is, who is Freeze complaining on? Whose behalf is he complaining?
Ignorant Nigerians.
So the problem we have is not the church. I stand to be corrected, sir. The problem we have is that as a society, our thinking is twisted. There's something wrong. Sorry, Chooks. There's something fundamentally wrong with the way we relate with the world now. We have been dehumanized. We have been debased by decades of programming, negative programming, deprivation and all that. So we don't think right anymore. The same church that I go to, the Bible that I read says that show me your faith and I will show you my works. My own Bible tells me that if I don't work, I will not eat. That's what my Bible teaches me. He causes the lazy man. He says a little sleep and a little slumber. Your poverty will come upon you.
I go to the Baptist church. So you see, and another thing that all of these domes and everything, what is now causing is people are now, it's now my church is better than yours.
Yeah, so it's us as a society.
It's about the building.
You know, when people see me, you know, I say, and that's when I go to, sometimes we invite into these places, they are just a huge distraction.
Huge distraction.
It's a huge distraction.
That's the word.
Huge distraction. Go to a church where before the pastor comes there, he needs to be sent from the seminary or the mission, they need to appoint him. And if the people decide that we don't want this man again, they kick him out and bring somebody else.
The other day I saw a video online of a pastor
my church is hotter than yours.
Who descended from the sky, into the church.
If you are single, if you are single, you are looking for husband, there's the church you go. If you are looking for babies, there's the church you go. If you are looking to be hot,
all right, let's just have a say. We can move on quickly.
This topic alone, we can use 2 weeks.
No, of course, it's that hot and controversial.
You see this whole church thing. I call it madness. It's just madness. I'm a radical for Jesus. What kind of they come up with all kinds of things.
But those are people's private preferences. I don't see why you should have an issue with somebody saying I'm a radical for Jesus. This is choice. Is it disturbing you in any way?
There's this ones that wear, what do you call them?
The apron.
The apron ones. I saw it.
Yes, exactly.
Hold on, let's take it one
on the road, and they were dancing,
and rolling in the mud,
and turning inside the gutter. And he said, "I'm a radical for Jesus." I was like, "Okay, which Jesus are you talking about?" Now it depends on the Jesus you are talking about. See, until we purge ourselves of this religion madness, we won't go anywhere. Freeze was talking about Qatar. I think the line he's trying to draw, he's putting both Christianity and Islam as a religion. Now you are here saying, if you don't do what because I'm a Christian, he's pointing to another country that is Islam. They are even developing far better than you. So you can't be a standard to development. Going to church is not a standard to growth. Pure. Dubai was built from desert. They don't believe in God. They believe in their Islam. They're not Christians. That place was desert just a few years back. They are building a new, they built Burj Khalifa, 100 and something stories. That's the tallest building in the world. And if you go there, there's a museum that shows you how these guys planned it. They were not going to pray. There was no person and prayer. There was no fellowship, or they didn't have to do 40 days and 40 nights. No, it's about people sitting down and thinking.
Of course.
God has given us that power to think.
Okay.
They are building a new one that will be bigger than
Wow.
that
It looks like this is the only
What
topic
are we
we're going to
talking
do
about?
today. I don't understand. All right. Fred from Abuja says, Mr. Chooks has said it all. You have made my day. God bless you and my sister Pat. Thank you, Fred, for saying that. All right, this one says, I say more industries because religion has no direction. All they do is go in circles, and that's the last thing this country needs. Moreover, this so-called, well, this is an inconclusive text. You didn't, you didn't finish. All right, somebody is saying something about that lady in red. Ebuka from Jos, I will not read this message. Yes, I will not. All right, this one says, when will Nigerians ever enjoy? If federal government could not actualize minimum wage promptly, they did not fear God, while crime increased daily in a blessed country. Our leaders forget
It's all our religion.
Day of Judgment. I think that one is reacting to the minimum wage story. All right, this one says churches are responsible for the poverty in Nigeria. We don't need biggest church in the world because God doesn't reside in temple built by men. Acts chapter 7 verse 48. If you have time, we'll read it. Shua from Warri, thank you for sending that one in. This one says the church is not the society problem, though some lions in sheep clothing have made it to be so. But all the same, I want to thank the man on suit for proper address on the issue. Christianity is all about individual mindset. This one says so many churches are springing up these days all in the name of converting people to Christ, but the perspectives have changed. The battle for supremacy. I think that buttresses what you said, Esosa. This other one says, I wonder why churches don't pay tax, because many of them are
For God's sake, they should
signs
pay
of
tax.
investment.
Yeah, you should pay tax.
So-called
That dome now,
If he's taxing that man, he won't be building another
doing
one.
all this rubbish.
So-called proclaimed men of God build churches to enrich their pockets and invite rulers who are ruining the nation to come and give speeches. All the same, in their land, all the space in their land is to build their church without parking space and block roads during their big program. It's a shame. God is watching. I mean, so many messages here. I can't even take half of it.
But let me jump in and say,
10 seconds,
on
sir,
this
we have to
issue
move
of
on.
the church is the problem. We have to be careful. See, let me tell you what our problem is, and I've said it before. Our thinking. We don't think right. And that is why some so-called man of God can take advantage of you, say all sorts of things to you.
Your
You go and sell
gullibility.
your car to give the church. It's our mindset. We need to work on our mindset as a society.
I mean,
as a
Esosa
country.
said it.
Something is wrong with
Emancipation.
us.
But you know where
It's not the
But
church.
you know where there's a problem.
individual.
Yeah.
The church, the era of church where we sit down here and commune, is gone. Now there's one Hauja microphone that's talking to somebody outside. There's a TV program that's broadcasting.
Yeah, because
so
there's
that
no law.
one man is influencing the entire country.
True.
He's not keeping it to his sizable members.
I get what you
That's
mean.
what they have to say. They use mass media. They use social media. They
Stream
use
online.
So it's a societal issue.
Wow, this is a lot. I mean, the saying goes, the religion is the opium of the masses.
Those who brought
Yes.
this religion to us have dropped it.
Okay, we have to move on to
All
the
of
next
them.
story. Blossom,
Go to
quickly.
Ireland.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Obani Koro recovers property from EFCC. Former Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obani Koro, his wife and son have reportedly recovered their properties worth of 500 million naira that were seized by the EFCC. Recall that Obani Koro is standing trial alongside former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose. He's alleged to have received 4.7 billion naira from the Office of the National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired in 2014. At the beginning of Obani Koro's trial, the FCC was able to secure a court order for the seizure of some of his properties suspected to have been proceeds from corrupt practices. Okay, to be very quick about this, about 2.2 billion naira out of the funds were allegedly handed over to Ayo Fayose.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. Who was then a PDP governorship candidate. The money was allegedly released to rig the Ekiti State governorship election.
I think we are all privy to all of that. But then the properties we're talking about here includes 4 terrace houses in highbrow area in Abuja, a parcel of land also in a choice area, and a duplex in Ikoyi, Lagos. Yeah, those are the ones that were mentioned there. But then let's react to this story. We start from that end of the table very quickly.
For me, until this moment, I treat it as fake news. Because I searched and searched for, you know, the facts, and I just couldn't find. And I discovered that, well, it's just a couple of blogs and all that. And so what's happened is that probably some people have seen some activity around those houses and have jumped to conclusions.
And also the
cross was wiped off and all that.
buildings,
So, so, you know, it fits into the narrative of the season. It's political season, and these things are going to be flying around. But for me, the FCC has denied it, and I will just stick with that. I don't think it's true. If it were to be true, then I will know what to say. But since they've denied it, I think I'm just gonna, you know, I'll just leave it.
Like you said, the story doesn't even add up. I mean, for me, it doesn't make sense. And like he also said, which I checked, I didn't find anything. In fact, I was going to say, please, can we skip over to the more important topic which we were discussing before the show started about the police and I mean, all of these people. It's political, it's election season.
Election season.
All sorts of fake news and stuff will be flying around.
Okay, Chooks, are we sweeping it aside too?
Well, I'll put this topic and the one we just finished together. Because it is also about some people sitting down somewhere and throwing out fake information. And people are taking it into the truth. The truth is that the level of fake news in Nigeria now, today, is alarming.
It's mind-boggling.
If you are not careful, you are going to... people will take action based on something that never exists. Because
but fake news has always been.
No. This period,
Now
it's
really bad.
For instance, look at the issue of the soldiers that were killed. You go and bring a different thing that happened somewhere. Say Nigerian soldiers are, you know, people are not daring. They want to, you know, put it out. Ganduje donates 10 million to EFCC, donates 10 million to ICPC. Look, how? How? Just how? But it is a public discussion as we are talking. It is the same thing that happened with religion. You say things, people take it. They don't check it because you are supposed to be credible. You are supposed to tell them the truth.
Let me help you. I say, God help us all.
May God help you.
Amen.
That's how we end up.
Amen. Okay, so let's end this one here and move on. Buhari approves increase in salaries of policemen. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the increase in the salary of the Nigeria Police Force, according to a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu. Buhari's administration will continue to give attention to the welfare and operational needs of the Nigeria Police Force with a view to restoring its lost primacy in the internal security framework of the country. Noting that the more efficient the police is, the more confident the government and citizens will be. Quickly, let's react in 10 seconds each because our time is almost gone.
I think it's a good one. I've always said it, you know, there's something wrong with us as a people. I say it every time and I defend it. You find an organization spends millions to set up, hire people, pay in millions, then he hires some guy who didn't go to school to be the security man. So you set up billions of millions of naira, and then some guy who is not well equipped is supposed to take care of it. I don't know what is wrong with us. You have a country, then you have a police that is not trained. You know, when somebody is never do well, say just let him go and join police. And that is supposed to be the most sensitive and the most important aspect because they are supposed to secure our lives and property. So they are not motivated. The way they are employed, terrible. Okay, look, 30,000 police officers sacked because they never existed. You should offer 30,000 people any salary. So it's good that, you know, this might be just the other side of the reform they are trying to do with the police. Because they've been working on, I spoke with the pension woman last 2 weeks, and let me not give us high BP about what has happened to this country in terms of pensions and all those things in the first and all those things. But the thing is that I think we are grinding to what it should be.
Okay.
We are grinding, but how fast is what I don't know. How fast we'll get there.
That's so sad.
Well, I mean, Chuk says that it's a laudable thing. I mean, we started this show with what's happening in South Africa versus this. And before the show started, you and I were having a conversation. I asked you the question: when last was there an increase
in the salary
of the policemen? And we couldn't even remember. The only thing I could remember was, you know, the late Umar Musa Yar'Adua saying that he was going to, you know, and he was going to move it from, you know, to I think 80-something thousand naira or something, which was, you know, very impressive.
Which I don't think they earn, by the way.
Yeah.
You have to be like an inspector for you to earn like 70K or so, yeah.
I mean, I'll just make my point quickly to say the police is supposed to be one of the most well-funded, you know, I don't know, the well-funded government agencies, and we see the rots hit on, I mean, come back to us in society, and I mean, they show us all of that's happening because they're poorly paid, they're poorly trained, and all of that come back to us. So you say you're giving somebody 30,000 naira a month
to carry gun and follow.
So that's the amount now, 30,000 naira. Be patient. Yeah. You know, I don't know if 30,000 is enough for a man with 4 children.
Okay. We have to.
I don't know.
So
on this matter, it's something that I thought we were going to start with, because I really had a lot to say. You know, I don't think it's something. You know, why is it coming now?
Commendable.
Yes,
okay.
I'm a typical Nigerian. I will sit down and look with my side eye. Why is it coming now?
Now.
And why? I mean, they're still struggling about it. It's not like it's.
All right, Mr. Shopito, quickly in 10 seconds.
So it's a good thing that the salary has been reviewed, but like we're all kind of hinting, it's nowhere near enough. And for me, the shock is in saying all of these things, the president actually acknowledged that the police has lost its right of place as the foremost security agency, and yet the only thing they can do is to increase their salary. What about better equipment? What about better training? What about, you know, there's so much to happen.
I know before this,
so maybe they're working on it.
All right, gentlemen. Yes, they're doing something on housing scheme for the police.
It's nowhere near enough.
Okay,
I think we need to do
more needs to be done. I think that's the agreement. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We are seriously out of time, but it's been a very great interaction this afternoon. Thank you, Chuk Suwane. Thank you, Esosa Osagide, and Mr. Shegun Shopito.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. Join us again.